on speaker. I will. Hey, Ben. This is Paul. How are
Hey,
you doing?
Paul Goody.
Hey, Ben Lawrence. So I can hear you now.
Yay.
It's wonderful.
Hey, happy Thursday, September 12th,
Thanks, Ben.
2024.
Yes, I am. I'm feeling stressed, Ben.
Does it have something to do with purchasing a house?
This move is upcoming.
Yeah.
Did I tell you already about the inspection
No.
at the time that I mentioned? So this is an as-is house.
Right.
Buying it as is.
Like a
So I'm
used
going to,
car.
yeah. So for fun, I'm going to tell you what is uh, wrong with the house. This is going to be what's wrong with Paul's house. A fun, fun
Now,
time. Yeah.
before you start, you told me last week that depending on the inspection, you may or may not take the house.
That is correct. So the inspection. So here's the thing: the inspection was not. Okay. There's nothing that keeps us from living in the house, right? The house is habitable,
At the very least.
at the very least. So now we're gonna talk about, okay, well, what things need to be fixed, and
Is this
we'll
going
get
to
into a
take up the
little
whole
bit more.
hour?
It may no, it won't. It won't. Because I'm not going through their inspection report. I'm going through the notes I made on their inspection report.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going for which would you rather do, Ben? Would you rather go from the thing that we're going to fix first, the most important thing, or do we want to go to the least important thing?
Is there a way to order
I think we're going to
them?
go least
Is
important.
there a way to order them to like standard things you find with a used
Hmm.
house versus the most extreme thing that this like the inspection found that the attic is haunted kind of thing?
Okay, and a haunted attic would be the last thing then.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. Okay, so let's do this. I'm just going to go with least expensive thing to fix to most expensive thing to fix.
There you go.
That sounds that sounds good. Okay, so and then there's an honorable mention, which we'll get into in just a second. So we're going to sort from A to Z. Okay. There's some staining in the garage, and water staining in the garage
On the like in the drywall or on the cement floor?
on the on the the bottom parts of it. So
So
it's a
somebody's
little
car leaked oil.
oh, no, we're talking about on the outside, on the
Oh, on the
outside of it.
outside. Oh, okay.
There's some water damage maybe from where it's touching the thing. So that's a monitor. They said just keep an eye on it. We're not going to have to do anything.
Yeah.
In some closets, we were going to have to change the light fixtures. We're going to have to put some LEDs in there
That's a requirement?
instead of regular lights, because these are nothing. This isn't like the city telling us we need to do this. This is the inspector saying, I would advise you to do this.
Okay.
So replace the light bulbs with the LEDs because they're close enough that they could set objects on fire if they're
Ah.
flammable.
Okay.
We need to add some smoke detectors.
Yep.
The bathroom sink is clogged.
Easy to fix.
Yeah. We need to. Okay, this is the first one. It's sort of a bigger ticket item, not a big ticket item, but bigger. We have to clean the chimney out. It's probably going to be about $100.
You should do that like once
Or
every
use.
couple years or so anyway.
Yeah. The water heater has a pressure release valve that is not at regulation height that we have to fix. The garage door has an electrical component. An electrical garage door.
Yeah.
It is not fixed. It doesn't work, so we
Okay.
have to lift it up manually. Fixing that probably around $300. The bathroom, the tub and tile, they suggested adding some caulking to it. It's
Okay.
about $300. The attic, there's a ventilation fan in the attic, which needs to be repaired. Um, okay, there is a vent cover in the attic that needs to be replaced. If we have a professional do it, it's probably $450 parts and labor. That's mostly labor, right? Getting up there on the roof and doing the thing and all
Oh,
that.
so it's on the outside.
It's on the outside, yeah. And that's the number two thing that we've decided to fix. And we'll talk about why that is a little bit later on.
Keep the squirrels out.
There's some water damage on the in the interior, like in the bathroom. They don't know when it happened or how, but some of the drywall is cracking from where it's at. Okay, the basement bathroom has a shower. The shower has a mirror for a door, and then you can see on the inside. So it's a two-way mirror, which is pretty cool. As someone mentioned, doesn't that mean it's a one-way mirror? Not really. I mean, it's funny, but no. The two ways is be reflecting at you and then seeing through it to the other side. Um, but it's not tempered glass. So
Ooh.
they suggested maybe we replace that.
Yeah.
That'd be $600. I'm not going to replace it right away.
No, but like if it breaks and somebody's in there naked, like that's shards.
Yeah.
Shards of broken
Yeah.
glass.
Exactly. So yeah, not great. All right. Now we get into these are the more expensive things. There are some interior outlets that don't appear to be grounded correctly.
Oh.
Some garage outlets don't appear to be grounded correctly. And so that, it's $100 per outlet. They suggested is pretty standard for how to fix it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of costly. Replacing the locks on the doors. Eventually, we'll need to do that.
You'd want to do that anyway.
Yeah. So, that one's pretty high up. All right. Number one thing to fix. Average cost of this is $2,000. The raccoon in the attic.
He hasn't paid rent for over 3 years.
That got in through the vent.
Ah.
That doesn't have a cover on it. So those two things are kind of together.
Yeah. So
now we're getting to the
the $2,000 is to clean up the
to trap the raccoon and
it's
take it.
Still there. Okay.
Well, here's the thing: is it still there? It was there, and then it got scared and it left, and then it came back, etc.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's one of those things that we could probably, I guess, scare it and put the vent back. But I'm wondering if, in fact, the raccoon wasn't the thing that took the vent off in the first place. Because they can do that.
Yeah, they got fingers.
So that's a tough one. So that's the most expensive and the most pressing. The most expensive of the most pressing.
Yeah.
Sort of. And we'll talk about why we're saying sort of in a second. The attic is the location where the kitchen exhaust goes. A lot of houses do this. You really should have it go outside of the house.
Must be in like an old design then, where it was okay to just exhaust into the attic then.
Okay, so here's the big. Oh, the attic needs insulation, which can be costly during the winter.
Yeah.
And then finally, the biggest thing is that the electrical, main electrical thing is a push button electrical thing, which apparently is old. And so we'll need to replace that
main
eventually.
Electrical thing. What are you talking about?
The box, the main electrical, your switches. It's an old design.
Okay. So you'll
but it
want
still
to
checks out.
replace it?
Eventually. And that's $4,500.
Oof.
Okay.
With grounding the outlets, you might as well just redo the entire electrical system.
Well, I mean, if we had the money and if, this is what,
Yeah.
we would. And I'll get into that. Well, no, I don't think I can. I'll talk to you about it after the
Okay.
thing. And then there's lead pipe. That's our main inline pipe.
Yeah.
I mean our whatever you call it. Lead pipe is lead. Oh, that's funny. Lead pipe it's a lead lead pipe.
English. No wonder it's so freaking hard to learn.
Replacing that is about $4,700.
Hang on, let me take a drink again while you say that.
Replacing that is about $4,700. Apparently, the city of Chicago is replacing these because it's the city's pipe. So
this is a public safety issue. This is something where the federal government needs to get involved.
Yeah, and so the big thing is that there are 400,000 houses in the city of Chicago that have these pipes.
Yeah.
And they say that they're doing lower income families first. And apparently they add something to it so that if you're running your water, the lead doesn't have time to leach into it. I don't know. The pipes inside the house are galvanized pipes also. So they're going to have rust eventually and stuff like that. So you need to flush them anyway. Okay. Cooling unit for the air conditioner is old.
Yeah.
Replacing that is about $7,400. And then this is the biggest deal. The windows.
Oh.
Eventually need to be replaced.
Yeah.
They still work. They're still all right, but
they're not like energy efficient or anything like that.
Yeah. And some of them are like painted shut. And that's like $10,000 to
Like back to the napkin math, just of what you told me, it sounds like you're looking at about $30,000 worth of repair.
It's going to be more than that probably. But everything I've told you is the highest quote that I found.
Yeah.
And this is just looking online. How much does it cost to fix this? So, like, I'll give you an example for the raccoon. I'm talking to a guy. He said that they have a 5-day trap that they put out for raccoons, and that's $500. So, the question is, are we going to have him seal the thing up as well?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what it sounds like? Maybe we do. We have him trap the raccoon and then also have an HVAC person come and close the vent while that's happening.
Yeah. Doesn't need to be the same person.
Doesn't need to be the same person, but they might fight. You never know if they
like raccoons.
Well, like what do we call it? Naked Lunch. The typewriters fight each other.
So the 500 bones to get the raccoon out of the attic, the 5-day trap. That's the hold cost. That's for the guy to come in, set the trap, wait 5 days, or until you call him and say, "I think it's in there," and for him to come out, collect everything, and leave.
Well, he also, this is the thing. This is actually great that we're talking about it. He and when I say he, that guy. Also then was talking about sealing up the house.
Okay.
So that's.
We had squirrels in the attic of Mr. House for a while, and the guy who came to trap and collect them he wasn't the one who sealed everything up. He was like, now you need to call somebody and get these holes sealed. And so like I'm glad the raccoon guy is also the one who can seal up your house. Good, that makes it easy. You only need to deal with one guy, and he can do it while he's there. But one of the things that I thought was funny was that one of my roommates at the time was talking to Mr. Squirrel Collector, and he's like, "What do you do with the squirrels?" And he's like, "Oh
Eat
yeah,
them?
we take them out to there's East King County. We let them free in the woods. They're fine." And then
Oh,
roommate walks back inside, and he's coming down out the ladder, and I'm like, "Is that really what you do?" And he's like, "No." That's all he had to say to me.
yeah. So I used Yelp for
Yelp.
the first time for this,
Yeah.
and it put out to a bunch of different contractors, and except for the guy who responded, who, by the way, I should point out was the person that I originally had selected. Right? Everybody's like, "This is out of my area," or "I don't deal with raccoons," or whatever. So hit and miss as far as that service suggestion area goes.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, the basic thing that I've worked out is that these are not things that I can cover within a year. I can't do all of these things. So we have to choose which ones we do, and then go from there. The big thing is this, and again, we could talk about it more after the thing, but this is better. This house is better. That oh, I will say this for the benefit of the podcast: we are not rich people, right? We're trying to buy a house in a major city, and this is in order to use the money that we have. This is one of the best, if not the best house that we were able to
But this was
pick up.
also always going to be part of the bargain, depending on or considering your initial price range. The house is going to become
Uh-huh.
with some repairs, and so these are
Yes.
these are not unexpected costs.
Right. And the other thing is that these repairs, I mean, it is an as is sale, right? These
Yeah.
repairs are part of the cost. Um, it's still not a bad price for that. The one thing I will say is that the neighborhood that we're moving to is considered one of the most violent in the city of Chicago.
Is it
Um,
now?
yeah, one of. Um, so, it's one of those things where, oh well, I mean, we knew when we were, doing it, that was also part of the reason why the prices were so low.
Yeah.
Real estate agent told us that. I explained it to Jennifer, and Jennifer's like, well, we've lived in rough places before. So, my hope is that we build community and,
Well,
don't
Paul,
get
I'm looking
too
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
yeah, it's going to be great. Uh so the right now anyway, the plan that we have is that, and maybe we can brainstorm this too, Ben. Uh, so the idea is that we would close on the 30th of September,
Yeah.
right? Um, they would be, and when I say they, I mean the moving company would be by to pack us up on the 1st of October. So they pack everything, and then they load it onto the truck the 2nd of October,
You think
which
they
would
think
be
they're
a
gonna
Wednesday.
pack everything in a day?
Yeah, that's their plan. And I'm going to say whatever they don't pack, we'll just toss, because we're going to toss stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But that's what he predicted, the guy who gave us our estimate.
Okay.
And then load it in a day, and then they'll meet us there with our stuff. So that's on Wednesday that it's loaded, and then Thursday is travel. Friday or Saturday is when they're going to deliver it.
Right.
And so Jennifer pointed out that we have, from Tuesday evening and Wednesday evening and Thursday evening, we won't have anywhere to really sleep because we're not going to have, furniture or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we're talking about it. My thought is that just get I think we even have an air mattress and just sleep on the air mattress, in the place. I don't know. We have to work out those logistics, basically. But that is the basic plan. And then eventually we'll be moving into the house with the raccoon or without the raccoon, depending on, when that guy
With or
can get it.
without coon.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Without
It's good, but
raccoon,
um,
I can't sleep.
yeah,
With a raccoon.
because that's the thing is I'll be able to hear it, right? But anyway, it's all of this stuff is, there are these, there are these things that are happening, right? The move has to happen, and there's cost involved in that. The closing has to happen. There's cost involved in that. Transferring all of our services over, etc. It's expensive,
There's a lot. Yeah.
and I don't have a lot of money.
This is a big
So
life thing that you're undertaking.
but the big thing that Jennifer pointed out is this. Here's the way that my brain is working. This is one of the reasons why I'm in therapy.
Jennifer pointed out, you're moving. We're moving at the beginning of October, and Ben's gonna be here when?
Oh, that didn't. Wait, did that happen?
Does she know I'm coming out?
I think so. I think I mentioned it.
Jesus.
I think she maybe even said, "You're not going to make him help us move, are you?" Or something to that effect. Which, obviously we've already talked about it. No.
That's the correct answer.
So, yeah.
Move me once, shame on you.
So here, but this is the thing, right? Is that we have the move of the thing. We have the getting rid of everything that didn't get moved, and then we have the the turning over the keys and everything of this place, and then the getting internet set up at that other place, etc. I gave myself 2 weeks. I took 2 weeks off of work to do all this stuff, which I hope will be enough time.
It will not feel like enough time, but
Yeah.
it never would have.
And this is the other thing, is that it is very expensive to have them move us. Having them pack us is one thing, right?
That's a cost that you can control.
That's a cost.
That's a cost that you can control. You can do the packing yourself and not pay that extra charge to have your movers pack your stuff.
No, we can't though. Because we're all incapable then. That's the problem. We're not good. We're bad at doing that. We have to have them do it because we can't.
Okay.
It's a mental problem, not a physical problem. Well, it's a physical problem for Jennifer, but for me, it's a mental problem. I can't. If they were to come up with boxes and say, "Here, put stuff in here," I would not be able to do it in a day.
No, you cannot do that. That itself is like a 2-week process.
Yeah.
Like you start, it is a process. You start packing up stuff well before the movers come. You take one room at a time. You don't pack up obviously the things that you need to live. You wait until the last moment to do the kitchen, or you just eat out for the final week. it's a
Yeah,
big life disruption.
right. And so instead, what we're doing is we're paying someone a lot more money to do it for us. Not only that, but also to make decisions for us, or not to make decisions for us, but to make us make decisions.
So
Is this going or staying?
yeah, so you're gonna be there while these random movers constantly bring stuff up to you and say, "Do you want to keep this or do you want to toss this?"
Sort of yes. The plan that we have is to bring um before the movers get there. So probably that weekend before that Monday, have the got junk people take everything that we're not packing.
Yeah.
And we're just going to have stuff on the floor and then tell the movers take the stuff, basically. That's the goal. The TV will be on the floor. It'll look like a hurricane hit. And then they're just going to take all that stuff and put it into their truck.
Yep. A big old
That's the goal.
semi trailer, I'm assuming.
Well, no. I mean, their trucks are all a certain size. They're some
Oh,
truck size.
gotcha.
So might need to be more than one trip.
That's that's the size of truck. I hired movers when I moved the last
Yeah.
time because I wasn't gonna ask my middle-aged friends to move all my crap for pizza and beer
Uh-huh.
and like possibly injure themselves. And yeah, I told them I live in a studio apartment. I don't have this many things. I sent them a picture. This is all
Yeah.
my stuff. I packed it all up. Like this is all
Yeah.
my stuff packed up. So they brought the biggest freaking truck to move me.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're going from one part of downtown Seattle to another part of downtown Seattle. You could have planned this better.
Well, afterwards we'll ask what movie company it was. Um,
God, I don't even remember the name of the company.
but yeah, so that would be the idea. The problem, like I said, if we had unlimited funds, then it would be pretty easy.
Well, thanks to America's credit card industry, you could have unlimited funds.
Absolutely not, Ben. We know about this.
Yeah.
That is not the case. It's not how it works. So, but the idea, the thing that Jennifer is hoping is that we will basically we have the list. We're going to go through it and basically, you know, have the folks with the truck get rid of everything that we're not, that we don't have um, on the list for the move, because the movers have a list that they gave us of everything that they're moving.
Oh.
So the idea is now that we have this list, we go through, and if it's not on that list, then they toss it.
So did the guy or the representative from the moving company walk through your house with you?
He did, yes.
Excellent. So that he's informed of what needs to
Yeah,
happen.
exactly. Yeah, he's seen it. Um, and I don't know. We got two estimates, or three estimates total. And one of the estimates, I just stopped them halfway through because they were more than.
Yeah, it'll be about like $25,750 to pack up your house and move it.
No, not that bad, but one place. I don't know. I'll talk about actual pricing with you. But here's what I'll say: is that one place was about $1,000 cheaper than another place,
Yeah.
and then the third place, um, the quote that they had was more than the cheapest place when they just talked about the move itself, not even the packing.
Yeah.
And packing is normally roughly a third of the cost of the total move. So there's no way that we would do that, basically. So yeah, so we spent a half an hour talking about the. It makes me feel better a little bit. Um,
it's 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 happening. It sounds like it's actually
yeah,
happening.
I mean, it. This is the thing: is that it will happen. What we actually end up with, and what the house is like when we're there. This is the thing: is that we haven't set foot inside this house, Ben.
Yeah.
Only our
That's
realtor has, which is,
that's
but
odd.
the realtor is somebody that we trust. She is known to us. Jennifer doesn't. There's we know that there's a um a conversion of three freeways
Yeah, I'm looking at it on a
by
map
the
right
house.
now.
Oh, you're looking at, because did I give you the address or whatever?
Yeah, last week you did.
Yeah. You're looking at the map. Do you see what I mean? How there's like a symbol?
Yeah.
It's kind of cool, because if I'm looking for the house, you know how sometimes you're like, "Where's my house? It's
Yeah.
around here." I know exactly where my
I
house
know.
is.
It's so easy to spot on a map.
Yeah. I mean. Uh, hey
But
everybody.
I was
Gonna be-
I got I found a place to stay when I'm there that's down one of the freeways. I won't say which one it is, but
Yeah.
down one of the freeways. There are no motels or hotels near your house. It's a very residential area.
Yes.
Um, but one of the days that I want to do, because I'm getting in Friday night and I'm leaving Monday morning. Like, one of the things I want to do actually is just take the train into downtown.
Yeah.
But that would mean parking my car, like driving to your house, parking my car at your house, and then walking up to the train
Well, we
station.
do have a garage. It's a two-car garage.
It's a two car.
So
Park my car inside your garage then.
you park your
Yeah.
car inside the garage. So this is all right. So we'll say this as well. I looked up Google reviews of the station
Yeah.
near my house,
The closest one, which I know which one
and
you're talking about.
it's like everybody here is crazy. Don't walk around this place. It's that sort of thing.
I mean,
Now, all of these reviews pretty much are before the major renovations happen. So major renovations happen to the place.
yeah.
So it is one of those things of like, well, I mean, Seattle is not as big as Chicago,
No.
but there are still crazy things happening on public transportation there. The big thing is this: the line is 24 hours. You can ride. You can get to downtown Chicago anytime.
That's something we don't have here. Our
Yeah.
our trains stop running like at right after midnight.
So, and so this is good and bad, right? Because obviously, the later you get, the weirder it gets as far as
Yeah.
who's showing up and stuff like that. But also, it means that if you're close to that, if I'm close to that line, I'm never going to be stuck somewhere. I could always get home
Yeah.
on that line, which is pretty good.
And it looks like there's a pretty like I don't know. It's here's what here are my thoughts on the reviews of the station where everybody's like there's crazy people hanging out there,
Yeah.
If Chicago is anything like Seattle, the most vitriolic fear mongering about Seattle's homeless population comes from people who don't live in the city.
Yeah.
Comes from people whose maybe stated goal might be just to scare people or to exacerbate the issue. And don't get me wrong, there is an issue, right?
Yeah.
But like Seattle, I've never felt unsafe walking down the street of Seattle. Granted, I'm a an average white person. I disappear into the crowd,
Yeah.
But if you don't engage, if you like sometimes don't even make eye contact, but make sure you are aware of your surroundings, nobody's gonna mess with you. I say this, I'm gonna get
Yeah.
mugged tomorrow, but
Hey man, don't get mugged tomorrow.
I won't.
Okay. Well, you never know. This is what my therapy has taught. Don't say that. You could get mugged tomorrow. You might not get mugged tomorrow. We'll have to see what happens. And that's the way it works. So yeah, no. The basic thing is that you and I have talked about this before, that there are people who show up to the city with an attitude of what they're going to encounter, and so that's what they see,
Yeah.
what it is that they encounter. Um, the the train ride from where I live to downtown Chicago is about an hour.
Really?
Yeah. So let me ask you a question about that. Really, was that surprising or
Yeah, it's surprising.
like
I did not
like
expect it to
too
be that long.
too long? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because here's the thing. This is true. To get to any part of Chicago from any other part of Chicago by public transportation, if it's, a longer distance, normally, like every other place that we looked at besides this place, I was saying this as sort of a brag. Every other place we've looked at, it's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Because you're trading bus to bus to whatever. Here I'm walking to the red line, I'm getting on the red line, I'm getting off near the place, and my walking commute for these places are about, around 12 minutes. So it's just sitting on the red line for a long period of time. I just gave the which line it is, Ben.
I think you said it last week when I was asking. So
I think nobody's gonna be confused as to which line it is.
yeah.
Yeah, I really hope that this podcast doesn't take off.
I
That
want
would
to
be a problem.
wallow in obscurity for the rest of my life.
Yeah, one of the things I think I've talked about this before, but one of the things that I am a little bit sad about is that all of the theater stuff that I've seen, it's all up north. Where I'm at is in the southern part of Chicago,
Yeah.
and there aren't really a lot of fringe theatery sort of things happening.
So not
And
only,
my point is that they could be, right?
well, you could create something.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I think about it, but the big thing is this: that my goal. This is why I'm saying it. My goal is to pretty much be local, right?
Yeah.
To like there isn't a comic book store, but there could be. The idea that the demand isn't there is incorrect. There are people who would like to buy comic books, you know, in that area. It's just that they, don't have like nobody's starting it. Basically, nobody who's living there is starting a comic book store.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
there I like I'm not starting a comic book store. I don't have the money to begin my business
and I mean
of that sort.
honestly, in today's economy, you probably don't want to start a comic book store.
Right, exactly. This is my point. Is that we'll see how I figure that once I'm there and I start meeting people, whatever, we'll find out that, oh yeah, there are if we find like-minded people who all want to do the same thing, that might work.
Yeah.
But there is for instance a South Chicago gaming group that I'm looking into, and stuff like that. It's like if you look at people are like the neighborhoods of Chicago, lots of them leave South Chicago. Oh, I forgot about this. We should talk about it. I'm gonna have to become a White Sox fan probably
Southside.
because Jennifer is already a Cubs fan, and therefore we have to have this rivalry. Because I'm not a fan of any baseball teams. So now that I'm moving to the South Side of Chicago, I must become a White Sox fan.
Yeah, and you can go to Wrigley and watch a monumentally disastrous a historically bad season for the White Sox this year.
Oh no! Why? What happened?
They're just not good. I don't know what their current. I don't know
Do they
their.
play at Wrigley Field?
They do.
I don't. I don't.
No, they no. The Cubs are at Wrigley. They play at Comerica.
I could go to Comerica.
You can go to Comerica. But yeah, I don't know what their record is right now, but like there's 162 games in the season. The White Sox have not even won 40 games yet, and there are about 20 games left.
Wow.
So they are historically terrible.
What a good team for me to be a fan of.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, that's good news, Ben. I do know that as far as matchups between the White Sox and the Cubs, the White Sox currently are ahead, but they're only ahead by like 2 games. This is when the American League and the National League started interplay.
Yeah.
Look at this. We're talking about sports, Ben.
And actually, this season, I think it started with last season, where there are more interleague games. Like now, and this is the first time this has ever happened, beginning from last season. Every team plays every other team in Major League Baseball. You don't only play teams in your league and mostly teams in your division with occasional interleague series. You now play every single team. Which I really love that. I was tired of watching the Mariners play all the teams in the AL West almost every other day.
So when are the Mariners playing the White Sox?
Well, they've already played them this season, but next season...
Oh, okay, and therefore the Mariners won.
Probably,
obviously, from what you've already told me.
Probably. Actually, I think they did.
You said the White Sox haven't won anything yet.
Well,
you told me.
The Mariners are also very streaky and bad at times, and so...
Oh, okay.
I believe the last time the White Sox came to Seattle, they played... I think they played 3 games, and 2 of them went into extra innings, and the Mariners finally won due to the home field advantage, where they were the last up at to the plate. So it's yeah, but next season, like if you're in South Chicago, maybe I'll come out and we can hit up a White Sox game.
That would be fun. Hey, do you remember what I termed the home field advantage at one point in time?
What?
In discussion, all that it was the police went to somebody's house and the guy was naked, and I said, "Ah, yes, the home field advantage." I forget who it was, but
of an update, the ballpark where the White Sox play is called Guaranteed Rate Field.
Guaranteed Rate Field. Okay, Ben. I'm gonna need you to do me a favor. I have a vested interest in figuring out how far that is from where I live.
All right, let's look it up. I
bet you White Sox tickets probably aren't that expensive.
And they have $5 beers, but you don't drink beer, so
yeah, so not a big deal.
Let's go. Let's see if I can do.
I will say this: 12 minutes away from Chinatown by car, from where we live.
I'm gonna have Google tell me how long it'll take to walk from your house to Guaranteed Rate Field.
Okay.
3 hours and 4 minutes.
Okay, so that's not going to be good.
But it looks like it's right up the red line. So there's
How how long
probably
will it take? How long will it take me to walk to Chinatown?
um
I
uh,
think that's 4 hours and like 20 minutes.
Chinatown, Chicago, Illinois. It's not that much further up, but it will take you 3 hours 45 minutes. But
Okay,
again, it's right on the red line. And so
this is what I'm talking about with the red line. It's as
yeah.
long as I don't mind there being weird people. Here's the thing. This is what I have to remember: is that to some people, I am weird people.
Yeah. It's 40 minutes if you take the red line
Yeah.
to
Wait,
Chinatown.
40 minutes. What about to Guaranteed Field?
It'll be shorter because it's further south. Half an hour?
Yep, half an hour. So
Not
there you go.
bad. Let's take you
But
in a
yeah,
ball game.
all that I know is that if I were to go to whatever you call it, Improv Olympic, it takes me an hour to get there.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing.
It's a long time to be on a train.
Yeah, it is.
You gotta
But,
take it.
you know,
Stop halfway, have lunch, then continue on your route.
well, I was going to say, if I'm reading, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just law of averages. Um, Something annoying will happen within your hour commute. If you're on the train for an hour and you're like, oh, this is going to keep on going for, the rest of the time here or whatever. One of the things that is neat is the CTA, Chicago Transit Authority. Oh, that's one of the other things. In a lot of reviews, they say, well, this is CTA. So, like, they're mad in general. I'm sure it happens with Seattle, too, right?
Nobody is happy with how Sound Transit operates.
Yeah. So, the thing I would say is that they do have something on their app where they talk about how crowded it is. And the way that they show how crowded it is great. It shows people, and it's like a one person or two people. If it's one person, it's like everybody gets their own seat. Two people, it's like, oh, this is really crowded. Red line, uh, by and large, does not have an overcapacity in general.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing I'm thinking about is basically this. So, we're here. This is a relatively quiet, cheap place to live, etc. Right? Um, moving to Chicago, the way that we're doing it, our mortgage is going to be about $400 more than our rent here. If you think about it, and I'll put this into perspective. You remember the house that we were at in Seattle,
The White
right?
Center, the South Park one?
Yeah, the South Park one.
Okay.
It'll probably be $200 a month less than we were paying rent there,
Yeah.
maybe even 300. So, and that part is good. We will be in a big city, which is one of the things that we wanted. We are in. I mean, this is the other thing: is the area that we're in is a Democratic stronghold. Like it always is blue.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Chicago is kind of the boogeyman that gets brought up all the time. As long as no one takes military action against civilians in the United States of America, it's a pretty, nice place to be if you're left leaning.
Yeah, it is a boogeyman. I don't know if you were paying attention at all to the debate, which is something we haven't talked about at
No.
all,
Oh
but
yeah, let's. We have
we have
minutes.
9 minutes.
Let's. I did not watch the debate at all.
I did not watch the debate as it was happening, but after it
Ah,
ended, I watched a lot of
clips and
commentary.
commentary. Yeah.
Yeah, news commentary on the debate. So I've seen the highlights. I've not seen every second of it, but apparently one of the things that happened was the Republican candidate at one point said that half of Seattle burned down, and everybody was like, No,
It didn't though.
it did not.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking about the Great Seattle Fire of 1880.
I was gonna. Yeah, he didn't say when. Oh, Chicago had a fire too.
Hey, fire buddies!
Hey, isn't the Great Seattle Fire? And not to disparage your city, of course. Chicago's got its own problems. I'm not there yet. But wasn't the Seattle Fire started in what is now the International District?
No.
Oh, okay. What was that? Because that was a thing as well.
Something that was in the International District?
Well, what was it then called? Chinatown.
Yeah.
Burnt. Somebody burnt it.
It's I cannot verify this, but an Asian friend of mine said that only white people call it the International District.
Interesting. I believe it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember it burning. It's the ID, as we say colloquially here,
Yeah.
is basically adjacent to Pioneer Square, which is where the Great Seattle Fire was. So I would not be surprised if it had collateral damage during that big event, but it was not the center of it.
Okay. Because there was a guy that I worked with in the electrical version who talked to me about the Chinese Exclusion Act, which I had never heard of. And he also mentioned that I think it was the Great Seattle Fire, that one of the so-called disasters that happened was white people burning Chinatown.
Oh God, I know nothing about that if that happened, but
Okay.
I mean, America, Seattle is part of America, and we have a horrible history of racism.
Yeah. So I don't know, but here's something fun. St. Louis doesn't really have an international district because they
gentrified it.
They knocked it down to put up Busch Stadium, the first one.
Oh, no kidding.
This is what a friend of mine who's a St. Louis native said.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
is he a St. Louis native? He lives in St. Louis now.
In Seattle, I-5 famously went through all the poor and black neighborhoods.
So, yeah. America, Ben.
Yay, America.
And I do realize if you search this podcast, you will see that I have said that buying a house isn't good because all of the land in America is stolen. Maybe that's why this is such of a problem for me.
Well,
Maybe
I know you don't have unlimited income, but I do recommend that you find which tribe had the land that your house is on, and see if there's some way. Here in Seattle, the Duwamish tribe, part of the Coast Salish people, occupied this land, and so they have set up a website called Real Rent Duwamish, which you can pay rent to the Duwamish tribe if you so choose. A lot of arts organizations in town actually do that.
Yeah, it's worth looking at, and well, do I look into it and then say, well, I can't? Oh, that's a problem.
I mean, if you at least even,
Yeah.
I mean, the first step is like just knowing whose land you're on, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And being able to have that conversation if you ever find yourself in line at a restaurant with somebody.
Would it be every little bit helps if we could? Like, the reason I'm thinking about it is that right now, I still owe my dad George, probably like $5,000, something close to that. Because remember when I was doing in hard times in Seattle, towards the end before we ended up moving,
Yeah.
where it was just like,
he gave you some cash.
And he kept giving me cash,
Yeah.
and he kept track of it. And then he told me how much it was. And so when I moved here
Thanks,
10 years
Dad.
ago, I gave him $100 a month.
Yeah.
And
Did
so
he
now that we're,
did he charge you interest?
I don't know if I don't think he did. So I mean, I guess we should be around 2000, only 2000 left or something like that.
I mean,
So,
if George is flush, maybe you can increase your credit limit with him.
or, well, I wasn't planning on doing that. We'll talk. We can talk more afterwards.
All right.
Um, but yeah, I think that's the I'm sure they have something for Illinois. I'll take a look. This is the problem, Ben, is that a lot of the tribes from Illinois aren't around Illinois
Yeah.
anymore, etc. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like I said, I'm sure that there's um, some sort of information. Although, again, the one other thing is that the the big thing, I guess, the other plan is, I mean, the neighborhood that I'm in is one of the more depressed neighborhoods as far as income and all that kind of stuff. So that's the other thing, is to not only think about who owned it at one point in time, or who settled there at one point in time, um, but also who's there now
Yeah.
and what they need to do. So again, that's why most of the stuff that I'm planning on doing, as far as like the guy who's going to be looking at the raccoons is from there, and I want to, because a lot of things in Chicago, you go 7 miles away and you're suddenly in a completely different neighborhood. So, you know, do you take the money out of the neighborhood, or do you keep the money in the neighborhood? Do you want to keep the money in the neighborhood? That sort of thing. So it's all great. And hopefully, I just continue to stay at the level I'm at, and maybe even get better, and all of this can be, when you put it at $30,000, it's not as bad. It's doable
I mean,
over years.
yeah, that. But I was also thinking like if you know you don't need to, but if you were to try to tackle all of these things all at once, as if you were somebody who were interested in flipping the house.
Oh yeah, this is not
Yeah. House is
the way.
habitable, just as you can, like tackle the most important things first.
Yep. And it's one of those things to think about, like, if we fix the windows, we cut down on the heating bill. So it's one of those things of, like, if only I could save the amount on the heating. This is where we talk about credit and all that, but I already have a big loan that came out. They're talking about how I may want to refinance in a little bit, because it's going well.
Yeah.
So, all right. The big thing is this, Ben. Thanks for listening to me talk about the house. There's a lot of stuff that I don't need. Like, improv is one thing, but I don't need to, for instance, have a lot of people around in order to draw more, and to read. This is the other thing, is that one of the things that's expensive about us moving is we're planning on moving all of our books,
Yeah.
because we have a bunch of books, and the
Books are
bunch of books we
heavy.
have are good. So I think I'm going to throw my comics out.
What?
I only have, because a lot of them got water damaged. I only have a few more. I'm not on my graphic novels. I'm talking about the actual comic books in
The bags and
the
boards?
backs and boards. Yeah. I don't think I get anything out of them, and I don't like reading them in that format. I
Yeah.
like reading them in graphic novels.
I
So
have a bunch of floppies, but I never look at them. I may have read them when I bought them.
yeah, so maybe that's part of how we cut down a little bit on the weight. But we'll see. We'll talk about it more later at the next Goody
Goody
Lawrence
Lawrence podcast.
podcast.
All right,
And
Paul.
Ben, thanks a lot. Keep it wrong. How's it happening? And I'll talk to you more next week.
How's it happening, Paul? Keep it wrong, and I will talk to you next week.